Hi folks, my first attempt at spare room war game. I've commandeered the spare room and laid out a, what is it, 6 foot by 4 foot, or almost 6 foot by 4 foot battlefield, and arrayed some Saxons and some Vikings. So bear with me. Let's buckle in and see what happens. I'll be using 7th edition with conversions by our group. So what we have is a small amount of Vikings, part of the Great Heathen Army of what was it, 865 to 878, that ravaged its way through Saxon England, as it was then. And here we have this side, a Saxon army that's put itself in the way of the Vikings to see if they can put a halt to this little group. So the part we're fighting over is mainly open fields, some woods, but nothing particular about them. And there is a small village over here on this side. The troops are arrayed. Saxons are on slightly higher ground here. The Vikings have come through some higher ground over this side, through the open countryside, into the area that the Saxons want to stop them. Right, we have the main Viking army deployed. We've got Huskarls here and here with command. We've got a unit of Berserkers, the main CNC, another unit of Berserkers, some Huskarls, and then Bondi, and over here some Bondi. That's the Vikings. The Saxons, we have some a unit of Huskarls and a unit of basic heavy infantry and medium infantry. Rear ranks over here. We've got some heavy infantry, some Huskarls with the CNC, more heavy infantry with some medium rear ranks, and then some basic feared or select feared here. Oops, can't get the camera in. Here and here. Okay, so that's the two armies deployed. I'll just go out a bit as if I can. Yeah. So we have the say the Vikings and the Saxons. We'll now start the moving. They move on, or in various stages on march move. So I'll get that sorted out and come back to you. Right, so that's the first of the march moves. What's happened is that various Viking units have moved forward until they what we call bumped the Saxons. Now, I'll just come back over here. Most of the Saxons have stood on the higher ground, which is sensible. Obviously, you're Saxons, you're used to defending from a high position. Over on this flank, these Saxon units were too boxed in with this. I'll put it there. You can see this high ground. That's the light shining. I do apologise. We're too boxed in, so the Saxons have moved forward from the higher ground so they can deploy better. This means that they have what we call bumped the Vikings as the Vikings came forward, and once we get to 240 paces we stop. So the Saxons stopped, the Vikings then moved forward here and they stopped. In the centre they're sort of hung back a bit. I think they're waiting to see what will happen and how the two flanks are going to deploy. Over on this flank the same thing has happened. The Vikings have bumped the Saxons on the hill, so they've stopped at 240. Everyone else has marched from behind here. Now we stop at 240 because we go from march moves to tactical moves, and that will be the next phase of the game. So we just run through what's happened. Obviously orders are written, I didn't worry about all that, and dice interpretations, blah blah blah. We've just then we've got approaches, they come first, a thing called counters and retirements, they would have come first. And then we have march moves. I've just completed those from, you get two segments for these types of troops, but anyway, we don't have to worry about that. There'll be no shooting and no declarations, no charges, no need to do anything as this is first move. No need to do rally backs, nothing like that is needed. So that's basically the end of bound 1. All we've got is troops getting themselves into positions, fairly sort of bog standard, jockeying for position, seeing what's going on, where you might want to move troops. I mean, this is obviously small scale, but say for the Saxons, I think they're reasonably happy here. This piece here is reasonably happy. They're not so impressed over there because they're a bit hemmed in, but you know, so be it. The Vikings have got control of most of this field. As you can see, have come over halfway. Again, that makes little point. Right. We'll have a sort out, and I think we're going to be going on to move 2. So here we are, move 2. Let's dice for initiative to see who's going to be going first. Right, the Saxon here has made an 80 pace move. That's his maximum move. The unit behind him would like to have done, but it's outside 240, so can only do a march move. That comes later on. So he's made the approach move. That one will make a march move, and over here in the centre or the middle, no movement here, on higher ground, deployed, waiting for the Vikings to come forward. So I'll now move the Vikings. Right, I've just moved the Vikings forward there on this flank, and these guys could have moved because I've just rechecked and it's 480. We stop at 240, but they can move within 480 of the enemy, which they would have been, but anyway, we'll leave those there. In the centre here, these Vikings are, yep, they're within 480. Whoops, sorry, that's 2 sticks, so 480. Those have already moved because they were in 240, so I'm going to try and sort these out, see if we can move those. I'm not sure, they could move, oops, point over here, they can move those Bondi because they are within 480. Those are, yep, they're within 480 over here. Of those, and of those, no, they're outside, so those Bondi can't move, so I'll just carry on the moving back in a tick. Right, that's the Vikings finished where they can on approaches. So we're now going to go on counters and retirements. There are no counters and retirements. We're now going to be looking at march moves. So I'll sort out who's going to march, which I think is just going to be these guys here at the back here. Those, whoops, those two have moved in battlefield, so this will be a march move, and I can march those up to the back of these guys. So we'll move those there and stop. Just tidy the line up a bit. There we go, there we go, there we go. Right, that's that finished. March move here. Yep, we can move those down there. They would probably need prompting on it. Stopped, I can't think. They may need a prompting, but the general's there, so it wouldn't be a problem. So we'll march move those down, which I think all I'm going to get is something like that. They're not going to get to do much more. Where are we? 240. Yep, there we go. That's 240 paces. They must stop marching. Oops, and that's closer, so we've got to move back a bit. Can't march closer than 240. Oh dear, oh dear. So there we go, that's a 240. I'll tidy that up in a minute. Right, so the next stage of things is, there's no shooting. I haven't got any arrows, no bows. So we've got 80 pace move for the Saxons and 120 move for the Vikings. So no Saxons will be declaring charges too far, but this Viking unit here of Huskarls can. They're within 120 paces. These are outside, and over here these are outside. So we're going to be, I think the only decoration would be this unit here. It's got a subgeneral with them, irregular bee, huskarls. They're likely to have, I'll have a look and see what they've got, whether they've got two-handed cuds or javelins, or spears, I'm not too sure, so I'll just check on that. Okay, just check the details, and the Vikings can have a two-handed cutting weapon, or they can have javelin spear, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Give them a javelin spear, give the Saxons a two-handed cutting weapon, the axe, and see how it goes. So I don't have to measure this. Saxons can't counter charge, they're too far away, so we'll charge these Vikings in. There we go. So that's all we do. Got a general in the front rank with the Vikings, and there's a subgeneral, of course, subgeneral with the Saxons. So we'll get that all organised. Back in a sec. Right, let's get ready for combat. So what we've got is the Vikings with an impetuous charge. It's the only way to do it if you're a Viking. Just get my measuring stick. Flanks are secured, no problem there, no problem here, no enemy behind flank there. That's a table edge, but nothing to worry about. Excuse me. Right, plenty of support there within 240. Oh, they're loose order, but there we go. Anyway, right, so the Viking charge, our irregular bee. Let's get the quick reference sheet. Tatty quick reference sheet. Right, the B class, charging against medium infantry, and let's get the dice roll. Here we go. This is for the Vikings. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Can you see that? Uh-oh, that's down 3. That's bad news for the Vikings, so I'm just going to work that out and come back to you. Right, just checking my factors. This is not good for the Vikings. You don't need a -3. Oh dear. Anyway, so it's a basic 2. So it's the Vikings are, it's other foot, factor 2 against heavy infantry. The Saxons are heavy infantry. They're using a javelin as they go in. So it gives them +1, takes them up to 3. They're impetuous 4-5, and they're charging 6. So 6 pluses is their maximum number of pluses. But now we've got the minuses. We've got -3, but not too bad, not too bad. The general can negate one of those minuses, and they're irregular B, so it can negate another one. So overall it's a -1. So what did we have? 6, didn't we? -1 means they fight at factor 5. So just work that out, just write that down, 2 seconds. So what we have is then we've got 9 in the front rank, 9 Vikings in the front rank, half the second rank, which is 9 halved but rounded up to 5, so that's 14. So we end up with 14 at factor 5, because of the minus on the dice. That gives them 14 at 5, gives them a total score of 56 against the Saxons. Right, so now we'll go for the Saxons. Saxons are irregulars. They're irregular B, the same as the Vikings. And here we go, here's the dice roll. Oh dear, I'm doing well with my dice. That's down 1. Not as bad for the Saxons. Now, I'll just work that out. Right, so for the Saxons, here we go. They're using an axe. So that's factor 5. But they did roll the down 1. Again, the B class would negate one of those dice, and the generals in the front rank, that would negate another. So they're okay, they're fine. So then it evens. Factor 5, they're not charging, they stood to receive. So it's 12 in the front rank, all of that, and we count half of the rear rank. So that's 18 at factor 5, and 18 at factor 5 is 72. The Vikings did 56, so the Saxons have won that fight. Now, it's not enough to do any real damage to them. 72, hang on a second. just checking, I was lying. It is enough to do damage to them. Right, obviously it's not a rout, it's a pushback. But because there are 18 figures, 72 casualties is 4 CPFs, or 4 casualties per figure. 3 casualties per figure will disorder a unit, so they are pushback disordered. So I'll move them back 40 paces in a minute. Pushback disorders. The Saxons, I think, will choose to follow up. It would make sense. They're not impetuous, but it would make sense for them to follow up. Now the Saxons are a 24-man unit. They lost 56, so 48. So 2 casualties per figure would be 48. So that's 2 casualties per figure for those. Yeah, we don't double up on ours. In the original rules you had to double up, but we leave ours as a single score. So I'll write that all down, move them back, and we'll get to where we are back in a tick. Right, let's move those back, push forward. Not much more, nothing more actually to do at the end of this bound. I think that's it for this bound. Yeah, we're going to be completed. I think that's the end of bound 2. Can't see anything else. This unit of Vikings could be a threat to the Saxons, but they've got support coming up here. The Vikings have got the Bondi, which could move forward, could move up. And over on this side, I think the Vikings are going to be jockeying for position to have a crack at these guys on the hill. Anyway, I think that's the end of that bound. I can't see anything to really worry about. Let me just check through. We had declarations, combat, we've got rally back and staff moves. There's nothing there at all. So I think that's the end of that bound. End of bound 2. So I'll get sorted and back in a tick. Right, bound 3, there we are. I think we'll dice for initiative to see where we're going to go, because we're up to approaches. So for the Vikings, that's a 1. For the Saxons, that's a 1. So we roll again. Vikings have rolled a 2. Oh, I'm staggering with the dice today. Saxons have rolled a 1. Low number. So the Vikings go first. So I'll have a look through and do some moving. Back in a tick. Right, so that's the Viking move completed. What I've done is moved up a bit competition-y, but not really. It's playing a game, isn't it? So I've moved these up. I've had the formation change, which means their normal 120 move is reduced to 40 paces. So the formation change dropped some figures back to allow the berserkers to go through, which is the general's guys. Berserkers are with the main CNC. I think it's probably more important to get those in. They've stayed outside of 120, so they won't be charging this bound, and obviously the Saxons are not going to come forward as they're on the higher ground. I'm building probably for an attack next move, so everybody's more than 120 away, meaning there won't be a charge this bound. Over here we had the pushback last bound, and this unit of Vikings have moved forward up to just outside 40 paces. They must not get any closer than 40 paces to the Saxons, unless they intend to. Well, they just can't do that. That's right. They may charge. They could charge in support. They can't charge behind the flank. Again, we changed the rules. The body has to be completely behind the flank to charge into a flank. We don't like the charge with just a millimetre of something showing to count the flank. So if they do charge, it would be like that, continuing the line, and it would just be those guys charging in. So we'll see what happens there. They may have to do that. Okay, so that's the Vikings finished. I'll just tidy up the rear ranks, the Bondi units, and move those up. Okay, that's the Vikings finished for their moving. I'll now go over and complete the Saxon move. Not a lot there. I think basically this one unit here is the only unit that can really move, and they won't be moving very far. So anyway, I'll just do that now. So what I've done is I've wheeled this unit forward 80 paces. Again, being close order, the Saxons, they only move 80 paces to the Vikings 120. This should stop the Vikings trying to attack the flank, I think, because I think it'll just be too risky for them with the Saxons coming up. So the Saxons wheeled 80 paces based on this, and anchored on this guy here by this tree. Just move the tree a bit. They're only loose trees, they're not a wood. Can't get through the gap at the moment, but they can work with the pushback. There could be another pushback there. Hopefully there will be. Who knows? There could be another pushback there, pushing back the Vikings, which would open up the gap. If the gap doesn't open up, they could formation change next bound, put those there, which would allow the Saxons to get through the gap. But anyway, there we are at the moment. Oh, is he's knocking figures all over. That's sorted that out. What's the next phase? There'll be marches, which we've got no marches to speak of, have we? No, nothing at all. Nobody needs to march. Perhaps shooting? No shooting. It's declarations. So what we've got to work out is if the Vikings charge in or not. Right, now it looks like the Vikings here are in a pretty bad way. The Saxons, I think, could get them to rout. We never know. Could roll plus and they roll down. But so I think these guys will need to go in and support. So I'll move those up to support alongside. It'll only be these N2 elements, which will be 5 figures, supporting. But I think they may need it. So we'll see what happens. We'll work that out now. Okay, so it's combat time again. So let's have a look at the Saxons. Now the Saxons, just move the quick graph. The Saxons are factor 5 because they've got the 2-handed choppers, but they've now advanced, so that gives them a +1. So it's factor 6. So it's 18 at 6, which is a basic 90. Devastating. Let's see what the dice can do though. This is where it could all go wrong, especially when you roll the wrong dice. Oh dear, how long have I been playing this? How many years? Here we go again. Oh, look at that. Oh dear. That's +3 for the Saxons. Ouch, that's going to sting. So it's 18 at 5. 18 at 5 was 72, but that's +3. So it's 18 at, what's it, 8 I make that? That is 135. Oh my goodness. 18 at 6 is, sorry, 18 at 6, what am I lying? 18 at 6 was 90, but it's +3 equals 18 at 8, which equals 135 casualties. I think we've got some dead Vikings there. Oh no, oh dear. Well, let's see what the Vikings can do. Now the Vikings are factor 2, their other foot. Got the javelin factor 3. And the Saxons now count shieldless because they're obviously mixed in, so they only count shielded in the first round with an axe, but they now count as shieldless. So that gives the Vikings a +2, which is nice. Takes them up to factor 5. Basic 2, javelin 3, shieldless opponents, +2, 5. But they are tired and they are disordered loose order. So that's 2 minuses, -1 for the disordered loose and -1 for the tired. Takes them down to 3. And again we've got 14 at 3. So let's see what the Vikings can do place wise. Come on girls. Oh look, oh dear, too late, but +3. See, so all those minuses I did last bound have now gone to pluses. Dear oh dear. Right, so what have we got? What was it, factor 3? It gives them factor 6, so it's 14 at 6 equals, let's have a look, 14 at 6, 10 at 6 is 50, and that's 70, oh, and 20, that's 70. Now this is weird. Now the Saxons did 135 and the Vikings did 70. But twice as many would need to have been 140. So the Saxons don't rout the Vikings. The Vikings have been saved. Ah dear, now push back and the second cause of disorder, blah blah blah. Anyway, we've got to fight this other unit that came charging in. So that's a first round for them. They are, so that's, what have we got? Let me just roll the dice, see what we get. Oh, that's a +1. +1 for those, so good dice for those. We have got other foot, which is 2, javelin 3. They don't count shielders for them because it's first contact. Impetuous 4, 5, charging 6, +1, 7. So we have 5 at 7. 5 at 7. 5 at 7 is 30. So 5 at 7 equals 30. So the Saxons lose a total of 100. Equals 100. I'll write that down. Which is 4 CPFs. 4 casualty figure. That would be 96. So that gives them. They're now fatigued. Or they're not happy. Fatigue. I'll write that down the other side. That gives the Saxons. What did I say? 4 more. That's now 6 CPFs. So they're now tired. And they're disordered. Plus disordered. The first Viking unit. What's that going to do there? Oh my goodness. I can't do that. Get my calculator. That's how old I am. It's 135, isn't it? 135 divided by 18 is, youch, 7.5 fatigues. That's another 7 fatigues. They had 5, didn't they? Tied 5 and 7. That's now 12 fatigues. They're in a bad way. So they're pushed back again 40 paces. They don't rout because again they didn't do the 2 CPFs, or the Saxons didn't. Okay, let's move those back there. Now they would normally follow up, but because this Viking unit did 30 on them, which was 1 CPF, 1 casualty per figure, that pins the Saxons. So the Saxons are pinned, and it looks strange. It's just the way it is with the mechanics, obviously. So the Vikings, that unit pins the Saxons. It'll all change next bound, obviously. But there we go. So no waiver tests for the rest of the Vikings, which will please them. Right, let's have a look and see where things are going. Right, approaching the end of bound 3 now. The Saxons here are on 6 casualties, 6 CPF, 6. They are disordered. They're also now tired. Once you get to 5 fatigues, you get tired, or you become tired. Those Vikings there are going back on 12 fatigues. They're virtually worn out. Once you get to 15, that's it, you're destroyed. So they've not got much left. Nothing happens to those. They just did the fighting. Next bound there will be an overlap of fighting unless other Vikings can get in, and I can't see how. And I don't think the Saxons will get in. They're too far away here. In the middle we're likely to see some moving and some more combats. So, but for now I think that's the end of this bound. Just move a quick ref. Yep, I can't see anything else that should be done this bound. Okay, right, that's the end of bound 3, so we now start bound 4. Any need to do any order change? Nothing needs to change. Vikings on attack orders, the Saxons are on a wait order. It's all going merrily over there on this flank. So I think it's now dicing for initiative. So let's dice for the Vikings. They roll a 4. The Saxons roll a 2. So the Vikings have initiative. The Vikings can move first, which I don't think is going to bother the Saxons. They weren't going anywhere really, were they? So we'll sort that out and come back to you. Right, so what's happened here is the Vikings have all moved up to the bottom of the hill. There's a slight slope here. Saxons are on higher ground, apart from in the middle there. but we've got higher ground, but one element is in the middle of the ridge, so won't count as higher ground. So Vikings have all moved up ready for combat, which would make sense. The Bondi have followed up behind. Bondi unit here has moved up to support, and this unit of Bondi have moved up close behind these, because I think they've got to rally this mound. They're going to formation change and get themselves out of the way. I think it would make sense, because they're not in a good way. So now we'll sort out the Saxon move, which I think is it's going to be this one unit here. So I'll just sort that out. Right, that's completed the moving for the Saxons. Last bound, I was just going to go through. We didn't, although they lost one casualty per figure from these guys, which would normally have pushed them back, because they gave out far more, they were not pushed back. They were just pinned. That's called pinned. So yeah, those Saxons have moved up. They only move 80 paces, but because there was a formation change, that reduces to 40 paces. So we've dropped one rank back and just moved forward 40. They're not in reach of the Vikings, so there won't be a combat involving this bound. That'll be another bound. These two units will fight in extended flanks. It's just the way it is. We've just got to assume that they've turned and they're sort of fighting each other. There's no real, well, they're pinned. There's no way to swing around, is there? Pinned. I'm just trying to think. They could. Oh, what's the point? Oh, no, that wouldn't help them. I say they could have expanded. No, they were pinned. If they'd advanced, they could have expanded, but because they didn't advance, they couldn't. Same for those. If you advance, you can expand rear ranks. So pinning leaves us like that. Right. Okay. Sort out where I am. I'm back in the tick. Okay. I think it's declaration time. No marches, no shooting, no needed. Or not needed. Say over on this flank, too far away for them to charge. Nobody here can charge. They're rallying, obviously from being pushed back and broke off. And this is a combat. So over here, Saxons are defending higher ground. So obviously they don't want to charge, because that would be a bit silly. So we'll have a charge declared impetuous. They're irregular A's. Normal general there, impetuous charge, and irregular A, impetuous charge. So I'll get that all worked out and move those to contact. Okay, there we go. All in contact as we expected. So we've got Huskars there, some Berserkers here, the main CNC here charging the Saxon main CNC. Just the way it happened. I actually didn't plan that. So that's incredible. And we've got a unit of Berserkers here charging these guys. So what are we going to do? We'll get sorted out. I think we're going to be working out the combats. This is going to be epic. A lot of combats all intermingled. So I'll get that sorted. So we actually start the combats now. We've got more than one. It's to the right of the CNC furthest forward. Now obviously the Viking CNC is furthest forward, coming all across the field. So we actually start over here. And we've got this strange combat here. So we've got the Vikings, we can count, those are encountered in contact and one overlap. So it'll be 9 figures fighting 4, 4 and half of those. Oops, as he knocks them over. I'm doing well today. That's 12. So it'll be 9v12. The Vikings roll, oh, +2. They like that. And the Saxons roll down 2. Oops. Down 2, down 2. So it's +2 and down 2. I'll just work that out. Right, so what we get there, ooh, not so good, not so good. Just get my book. So what we've got there is, for these guys, it's 9 at 7, because these count as shielders, second round of combat. So it's basic 2, javelin 3, shielders 4, 5, +2 on the dice, back to 7. 9 at 7 is 54 casualties on those. 24-man unit, which is 2 CPFs, so that's another 2 CPFs on those. They're already tired and disordered. the 2 CPF doesn't add another cause of disorder. So I'll just get my pen and write that down before I forget. Oh, there we go. So we've got the Saxons 6 CPS plus disorder plus tired. So that now gives them 8 fatigues. Let's have a look. Yeah. Now, what they did on the Vikings was 12 at 2. It's a basic 5, but they lose -2 on the dice. The general can only count a minus, can take away, sorry, negate one of those minuses in the first round of combat. This is not the first round of combat, so they are irregular B, so they can get rid of one of those. It's an overall -1. So basic 5, -1 on the dice, -1 for disorder, and -1 for tired. Takes them down to 2. And 12 at 2 is 24. So they do 24 on the Vikings, which will give them, I put Viking, that was Viking 1, this was Viking 2, Huskarl again, Huskarl, and that will give them 1 CPF. Yeah, that's what they get. So that's 54 to 24. That's twice as many, but not 3 CPFs, so it doesn't break them, but it does push them back. I think it pushes them back disordered. I'm sure it does. I'll have to look. Now they're going to have to go back there because it's that direction, because they're being pushed back that direction. Yeah. Okay. I've got to stay away from those guys. Yeah, that's the sort of way they've gone back. Now they go like that and can expand forward, which I think they should. It's one of those difficult ones. They should do really. Can't take guys from this side to expand. Now the only trouble, yeah, they should do really, because if difficult, isn't it? Because you can see these Saxons are going to be coming in this next bound. I'm not sure on that. I mean, if they expand, that gives us more Saxons fighting. I'm not sure what to do. I'll have to think about that. So what I'll do is, well, that's that one sorted. So we can see Saxons are pushed back, the Vikings advance, those guys are finished rallying. Not a lot they can do because they're so weak. They're nearly at breaking point, and the last thing you need on a Viking army is for breaks, because these are not very good morale. They'll usually fail. So perhaps these will fail, perhaps the Huskarls will fail and they would pass, but I say that's normally the way it happens. Anyway, they followed up. So I'll now work out all of these and come back to you, because this is a bit mighty. Right, so I've just worked all those out, complicated as it is. The problem is obviously because we've got mixed units, so we've got some berserkers against Saxons there, 2 elements of the general, another 4 elements of the general, some berserkers there, other berserkers against that unit, and the Huskarl unit there. So it is a kind of mix and match. But we basically have got 9 at 6 here, and then 5 at 4. So we'll go for that first. So the berserkers, now these are irregular A, they're looking for the big plus. Looking for the big plus. Oh, it's an evens, a 3 and 3. Doesn't give them the big plus. So they are 9 at 6. This is the general's unit. Now we've got to roll once, even though he counts on 2 units. So for the main C&C, oh, +2, +2. He's going to like that. That's probably done enough. +2. And then what have we got there? I'm just going to find him. 5 at 4, +2. Right, and then we'll go for the other berserker unit here. 1 dice roll. Oh, down 2. Oops, they count the, I think it's a full minus, isn't it? I can't remember. It's either -1 or full minus, so let's go -2. And over here, the general unit, and that's, oh, another +2. Crazy, crazy, crazy. +2. Yes, that's very good for the Vikings. So the Berserkers fail to perform. If they do perform, they perform well. Not very berserk, but the CNC and the other sub-general have performed very well with their pluses. So we've got, what have we got? We've got 9 at 6 here, which was a 6, wasn't it, an evens roll, yeah. Then we've got 5 at 4, but plus 2, so 5 at 6. And then we've got 9 at 6 over here. 5 at 6, but down 2, which is down 1 because of the A class. I think it's down 1 berserkers, yeah, sure it is. Even though they're all a -2, I think they count the -1. Again, minus here, so it's 4 at minus, and then we've got 9 at +2. Now the good thing for that is that the +2 is negating the minus they took for the Saxon standing on the hill, because it's a -2 for higher, standing high. Is it defending higher? What's the words used? What are the words they use? I'll just go through that. Opponents higher, and they're counted as higher. Right, so I'll just work out the Saxons. Okay, we've got the factors for the Saxons, so let's have a look. They're basically at factor 4. 4 for the heavy spear, which is against the medium infantry is a 3, heavy spear 4. These are spearmen, not axemen. The Huskarls in the middle count factor 5 because we've got the axe, and over here again heavy infantry with spear. First unit of heavy infantry. Oh, +3, you jammy Saxons. That's against the berserkers. +3, oh dear, oh dear. +3 and +3 there equals a 7 and equals a 7. Ah dear. That's those two. And is it that element as well? 12 at 5. Oh no, there we've got the CNC in the middle, so we've got B class CNC two-handed cutting weapon. Oh, evens roll. Not so good for him because the Viking rolled a +2. I don't think he's going to do too well there. But anyway, so that is the evens roll as it is. And over on this flank, the spearmen, what are we getting? Oh dear, down 2. But there's a general. Is it general with them? No, no, there's not a general with them, is it? It's just ordinary spearmen. So the B class, so that's a -1 overall. It's -2, but they can negate one of those. So that's minus. Oh, so that's going to be 6 at 3 and 12 at 3. Cross out the 4s. So I'll work out all of those and then I'll come back with some info. Okay, right, gruesome combat. There we go. After a gruesome combat, just get my book. So what we've got is these berserkers inflicted 45 but lost 72. So they are pushback disordered. They're not routed because they did 45. I needed to do twice as many and 3 CPFs, and I only did 72. I needed to do 90. So they're pushback. Okay, and they're disordered. I ought to get some disordered tokens out because I shall start to forget. So they're disordered, pushback. Not good for berserkers, so that's 6 CPFs on them because there's 12 figures, 72, 6 casualties, and 1 for the impetuous charge. Now the general here, they did 36 on him there, and what did he do? And 48 here. Is that right? That's 70. That's 84. 84 on that general from the Saxons, and that general did on the Saxon Huskarls. What did he do? My brain's gone. He did 45. Again, 84 to 45 is not. Oh, and he did some on them as well, didn't he? Right, I'm just going to have to work that out. 2 secs. Right, I've got somewhere now. I said it was complicated. Right, so the berserkers lost 72 and gave out 45, and the general there lost 36 and gave out 25. So that unit on the hill stands. It doesn't go anywhere, which is right. Now, so the general lost 36 there. The general also lost 48 there, which is a total of 84, 70, yep, 84. He lost 84, and he gave out 45 here, and he gave out 25 there, which is, what's that, 60, 71. Yep, so he goes back as well. He is pushed back. So we'll just move him back 40 paces, call it 40 paces. Yeah, that's it. Very lucky, considering he rolled the +2, again negated by the higher ground. These berserkers didn't do very well at all. They lost 24 and 16, so they lost 40, and gave out 20 and 16, which is 36. Yeah, 20 there and 16 and 36, so they go back 40 paces. Make a back, yes. And over here, the only sort of failure for the Saxons was these guys. Now they gave out 30 to those and 16 to those, which is 46, but they lost 45 here and 16 here, which is, come on, 50, 61. So 61, that's 2 CPFs. They are pushed back 2 caches per figure, so that's a success for the Vikings. They'll be pleased with that. So that's a pushback. So sort of looks strange here that they push those back and they go back, but it's the overall combat effect. So they do that. Now I think what we'll do is we will expand. They're advancing up the hill. They'll expand because obviously they're not gaining anything there fighting wise. Excuse me. Right, so into the combat. So I'm going to have to write all the tired and disorders and all the rest and casualties. I'll write that all down in a minute, work out what everyone is. I think I may have to get some markers out because I'm gonna start forgetting, but that's where we end up bound for. Nobody's broken. Nobody's broken yet. We have had some disorders and some pushbacks over on this flank. We've got disorders and pushbacks, haven't we? And over here we've got well, the first attack of the Vikings didn't quite work, so they're going to have to regroup and think what they're going to do. Although on that flank, they have done quite well. So there we go. I'll get that all sorted, and I think we're going to be on to bound 5. Okay, so we start bound 5. I've got the markers out, so we've got a disorder for those Huskars there, because of the number of casualties they took with them there. That's right. So far from that combat, they haven't been able to rally because they're still in combat. Over here, quite bad for the Vikings. Got berserkers disordered because of the casualties, C&C disordered because of casualties, and the other unit berserkers because of casualties. Those are okay. They advance and they've expanded, which is why they're in front of the berserkers. No Saxons are disordered here. They all took 2 CPFs. Again, a bit bigger, larger units. I think, yes, 2 CPFs for everybody. Okay. Right, I've just looked at those Saxons again. My fault. I was counting the spearmen here as 24s. And they're 36s. So they've actually got 1 fatigue, 1 casualty per figure. And over here the same again, 1 casualty per figure. But we're still pushed back because it was 1 casualty per figure, and the Vikings inflicted more. So there we go, that's where we are. So order changes, blah blah blah, nothing really. This is in the sort of final throes, I think, of the battle. It's bound 5. So we'll dice to see who goes first. Let's have a look at the Vikings. Have rolled a 4 and the Saxons rolled a 6. So Saxons to move first, which is not going to be a lot, is it? And then the Vikings. So what we've got is the Saxons here have moved forward to have to stay at 40 paces or outside 40. So it was just a slope wheel and expanded those ranks. Already, as you can see, they're going to be going in there. I don't think there'll be any trouble. Over here, I think we're going to be rallying. I think we could have some combats here. I think if I were the Saxons, as they push them back, I would now charge downhill and get stuck in at those disordered Vikings. So, alright, let's sort out the Viking move. Okay, so what's happened here is I've formation changed these, that's all they can really do, into a, sorry, what were they? Oh, there were 3 deep, weren't they? There were 3, so I'll put them now into 2. Sorry, I should have done that. So I've dropped 1 figure back here to make them 3 deep, and because they're still in here, that's the nearest enemy. They can't get away from those, and they can't do anything to them really. And this unit I've formation changed into a column and moved forward, assuming that next bound this unit of Huskars will form a column here. That will allow them to expand and probably charge the Huskars who are disordered. Depends on how things go. In the middle, obviously this unit's in combat, so it won't be moving. These have come up here ready to support if they need to, where these berserkers and the general are. Here they can't really afford to move up, because if the general is routed, or any of these units are routed, they're going to get swept away. So it's better for them to hang back and defend the line. Over here these guys are trolling on, obviously, and hacking and thrusting and spearing the Saxons. Right, so we're up to declarations again, I think. So over in this flank over here, we'll declare a charge, irregular B, and no enemy behind their flanks here. So they can, general's not with them, there's no general, is there? So they can be impetuous, and they're a regular B. So let's get these guys stuck in, move those forward. It's an 80 pace charge move, so no problems, plenty of room. So that's an impetuous charge declared there. They've got heavy spears. As they're charging, that'll count all the front and all the second. Nothing happens over here. These are disordered and just fighting. Those figures here will now fight this fresh charge. It won't be fighting those, but they'll continue to fight as an overlap as they were in the combat. These guys won't be doing anything, not the state they're in. So over here, I think, yeah, sensibly the general will prompt those two, no problem for 2 units himself, prompt himself to charge impetuously, and prompt the spearman to charge downhill impetuously. So I'll move those there now. Just it'll look a bit of a mess, I'm sorry about that, but that's what happens when you charge downhill, isn't it? So we've moved those up, and then the general here, the Saxon general, well, there we go, is fighting those. So that's it, that's really what we've done. Nothing more to be done. So I'll get that worked out and come back in a tick. Okay, so here we are, we've got this combat. We've got 24 here, guys, because they advance and charge impetuously, so it's all front rank, half the rear second rank if they stand, but as they charge it's all of them. So that's 24 at factor 6, which is, ooh, that's a whopping score for the Saxons. Let's see what the Saxons can do. Oh, +1, yeah, they like that, they'll go with that, won't they? So 24 at 6 becomes 24 at 7, and 24 at 7, that's 7 is 144 casualties on the Vikings. Oops, come on Vikings, you need a big roll now. So the Vikings are 14 at 3. That's 2 against the heavies, +1 for the javelin. No charging, no impetuous, they're stood standing to receive. So they need a big roll. Oh, they got +1 as well. So it's a 3 on the red and a 4. +1. That gives them factor 4. 14 at 4. So 14 at 4. 10 at 4 is 30. 42. Oh dear. That's our first rout. So what's happened there is the Saxons have inflicted 144, which will just work that out. Let's see, 144 divide by 18 is 8. That's 8 CPFs, 8 casualty per figure, gives them 8 fatigues. That's going to upset them. And they inflicted 42 on the Saxons, 36 man units, so that's 1 fatigue. That's 1 F, 1 fatigue, or 1 casualty per figure. And the Vikings lost 144, which is 8 CPFs or 8 fatigues. Add that to previous. Now, what were their previous fatigues? Let's have a look. I think they lost one, had they? Let's have a look. Viking, Viking, Viking. Second Viking. I've lost it now. Where are we? See, you can never find things when you want them, can you? Second Viking. I can't see that. Why can't I see that? Is it on the next? Because it's on the next page. That's why I couldn't see it. Viking 1, Viking 2. They've lost 2 fatigues previously. 1 casualty per figure for fighting and 1 for impetuous. So they're now up to 10 plus 8. And that's 10 fatigues. They're now tired, disordered, emotional and broken. So, oh dear, immediately everyone else around them has to test. Who's a Viking? Within 120. Are they within 120, the berserkers? No, I'm saying they're outside. I'll put my stick here, you can see it doesn't touch the berserker base. But it does those, so we'll have a test and a test. And it's general in line of command for them. That's a general in line of command for those. Yeah. Those guys there are with that general, and the CNC has the berserkers under his command. So, right, let's have a dice roll, shall we? Sort out the dice rolls, and we'll check this unit first for a rout. Oh, that's a 1, that's a fail, they're shaken. So they become shaken. Oh dear. Let's get a shaken marker. Yep, so we've got a shaken marker for that unit because they saw that route. Now we've got another dice roll here. Now these are only Bondi, so they're not going to pass too easily. No, they fail on a 2. That's a 2. That's another shaken. This is what happens with Vikings. Now this unit, roll the dice. Oh my goodness, that's a 1. See, I can really roll dice, can't I? So it's gone pretty bad. Now because it's their general, they've got to roll again for their general. Oh my goodness, another 1. That's a rout. Oh, for goodness sake. Now, anyone within 120, I think they're out, are they? I can't see, let's have a look. No, I think they're out. That's lucky, isn't it? Yeah, they're outside. But they are not, so they've now got to test. This unit, because that unit now routs, so a roll for this unit. A 2. Oh my goodness, they're shaken. See how the rot sets in. The Vikings will be running back to their boats. So from all of that, oh, and we've got a test here, haven't we? We've got to test the berserkers. I think. Oh my goodness, 1. They're shaken. I think they only fail on a 1. You didn't know how good I was at rolling dice, did you? Nobody else can see it, can they? Please, no one else on the Viking side. So, from all of that, so from 1 route here, which I better put a marker out for these guys. Get a route marker. So these guys have gone into route, which has given a shaken, and a rout, and another shaken. All from just that. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And we haven't even started the main combat. Right, I'll get sorted. I've got some moving to do, and I'll come back to you. Right, let's move the 2 routers. Do that immediately after the combat. We've now got to see if the Saxons pursue. Now they move 40 paces. We've got to see if they roll a dice. If they roll up, is it D6? Can't think. No, no, can't remember. Yes, it's D6, isn't it? 2. No, they don't. They go down. Oh dear. So that's just a 40 pace pursuit. They don't go 80. So I'll just move those 40 paces. I don't think they'll be too worried because they'll be able to rally their next bound. Alright, that's that finished. I'll now work out all that's going on here. Okay, so let's work all those factors out. So we've excuse me. So we now have these combats here, which are all intermingled. That is now a separate combat, so we'll do that last. but we've got these here. So we've got the spear, Saxon spear attacking the berserkers at 16 because they're now downhill, so they're advancing, so they count first and second rank complete because they've got a heavy spear. So it's 16 at 7 for the Saxon, that unit, spear unit. Oh, and it's an evens roll, 2 and 2. So it's 16 at 7, and 16 at 7 gives them 96 on the berserkers. So the berserkers lose 96. Oops, I think they're going to be dead. I think they may be some dead berserkers. Yes, they will be, with the number of casualties they've lost already. And on here against the general, there's 8 at 7. Again, it's an evens roll. So 8 at 7 against the Viking CC. 8 at 7. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's 48. So they did 48 on the general. 48 on the general. Now over here, charging downhill, the Huskars, it's factor 8. The CNC. There we go. Oh, evens roll. I thought I saw the plus, thought the big plus for the Saxons, but that's an evens roll. So it's factor 8 here. So 12 at 8. 12 at 8 is, come on, have a look. 12 at 8, 12 at 8, 12 at 8 is 90. 12 at 8 is 90 on the general. That's the Viking general. And evens roll, and we've got the 6 at the end fighting the berserkers. And we've got 6 at 8. 6 at 8 is 45. 45 on the berserkers. Right, I'll now work out the Vikings. Okay, so that's the factors worked out for the Vikings. Now, it's not too good for the berserkers here, because they are 9 at factor 1. That's because they're disordered, they're shaken, and they're tired, and all the casualties, and Uncle Tom Cobley. So it's oh dear. So they're 9 at 1. Irregular 8. Let's roll the dice and see what they do. Can they get a big... Oh my goodness. Down 2. I got down 2 last time, didn't I? What's wrong with me? I can't roll dice. So that's another -1. So that's 9 at 0. 9 at 0 is 9. Oops. Oopsie. Yep. Now that would normally be an immediate test, but because these are already in this combat, I'm sure we don't test them because it's a linked combat, isn't it? It's not a separate unit. If this was a separate unit to those, we could then test those, but we don't at the moment. Right, the CNC. Come on, General, you can do it. Oh, yes, he did. +1. He gets a +1, but he's 9 at 1. 9. Is it 9 figures here? What was I saying? Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's 5 at 1 here, and then 6 at 1 there. So anyway, 9 at 1. What am I doing? So it's 9 at 1 there, but I've done it the wrong way around. So it's not 9 at 1. We need 5 there, don't we? 5 at 1, but +1, so it's 5 at 2, and then against here will be 9 at 2. So 5 at 2 against the spearman. 5 at 2 is 10. Oh, he's so impressed. So that's 10. What did the berserkers do? 9, didn't they? And against the Mad X-Men, yeah, 9 at 2. 9 at 2, 9 at 2, where are you? 9 at 2 is 18. So that's 18 that way. And then berserkers, the other berserkers, come on guys, roll up. Oh, no, down 2 again. Oh my goodness. I don't think I'm going to be allowed to play Vikings again. I will be banned from the Viking Brotherhood. So that's another minus. So 5 at 4 becomes 5 at 3. And 5 at 3 is 10. 10. So what happened? Did we fight back against those? 90, yeah, 45. So what happened is the berserkers here, because of the lost 96 from the spearmen, and they gave out 9. The general lost 48, gave out 10. The general here lost another 90, gave out 18, and the berserkers lost 45 and gave out 10. Oh dear, that's bad news. So we've got, that's a rout there. That shaken becomes a rout. Now what did the general lose? That's going to be the big one. What did the general lose? He lost 90 and 48, so that's 138 and gave out 28. Yep, that's a rout. Well, it's all cracking now, isn't it? And the Berserkers lost 45. That's 3 CPFs and twice as many, so that's a rout. Right, so I'll just organise all the stickers for these. Yep, so let's put the rout markers on. So we've got all 3 units there, rout. So there can be lots of ways to test. This unit here hasn't fought yet, but it now tests. Test once for the Berserkers routing. And can it see? Yep, and it's within 120 of the C&C's unit, so it can see the C&C's unit routing, and it also will take a minus because it can see the general routing, the overall general. So anyway, from the right, we work over here first. Nothing here to worry about. They're in route, that's already done, already taken care of. So it's going to be a test for these guys before we get any combat. So these guys, 3. No, they're already shaken. I think they would have put, no, they needed a 4, the C class, so that now becomes a rout. So we'll take the shaken off and find another rout mark. I'm going to run out of rout markers soon. So that's a rout. Those 3 are in rout, otherwise those 3 are in rout, otherwise they'd be testing for routs. So it's this guy at the end. This is the guy. It's important for him to part. Now he has got a general and he is B class, so this will help. First test for the Berserkers. Oh, goodness sake. He's rolled a 1. Honestly, these are good dice. Yeah, they really are. They're not dodgy. That makes him shaken immediately. Dear. He now tests for the general's unit. It's a 4. He passed that. And now tests for the overall C&C. And he passed that. Wow. We're jamming him. But he's shaken in the combat where he could have possibly routed the Saxons. Right, I'll work out this combat and come back to you. Right, so we're now ready for this combat. I think this is more or less going to be it. We've got a basically 18 at 4 for the spearmen. They have got 2 fatigues, so no real problem. So we'll dice roll for these guys. What are they going to get? Up, down 1, but they are B class as a 4. So that can be front, front AC, yeah, it can be. So that's an evens roll. So they get, what's that, 18 at 4, and 18 at 4, 18 at 4 gives them 54. 18 at 4 equals 54. Now the shaking guys, they are 14 at factor 3, javelin 4, following up 5, but minus 2 for the shaken, and that's all they had on them. 3 fatigue, sorry, 1 for impetuous charge and 2 from casualties. So they're going to be 14 at 5. So it's sorry, I'm lying to you. 14 at 5. What did I say? Brain's going, yeah, 14 at 5, isn't it? Shaken. Javelin 4, 5. No, sorry, factor 3. God dear. We're getting the shaking it, so it's factor 3. There, factor 3. So it's all on the dice roll. Golden Bennett. That's a -1. That's it. I'm banned from playing Vikings ever again. It's a -1 because the B class, the general can't because it's a second round of combat, so he can't count a minus. But the B class counts the minus, or negates the minus. So that's 14 at 3. 14 at 3. And at 3, let's just have a look what we've got. 14 at 3, 14 at 3. What's that awkward one, isn't it? It's 10 at 3, it's 25. That's 35. 35. So they lost 54, which is a magic 3, isn't it? 3 fatigues. Oh dear. So that disorders them. They're now tired and disordered. And they can't go back because those, oh no, they're routing, oh yeah, because we do it all at the same time. Yeah, they'd be gone, wouldn't they? So they will be able to retire. But they inflicted 35, which is 1 CPF on the Saxons, so the Saxons could pursue them, push back. They're not on high ground, that's why I didn't count that, because they've come up over the brow of the hill. Right, so I'll just do some measuring and working out and then come back to you. Right, let's move the Saxons forward. They rolled a plus there and a plus there to keep in contact. Not that it makes any difference. I didn't get that on film. I thought I'd filmed it and I hadn't, so tough. Yeah, and so they've added a plus to keep them in contact. I'm sure that's what they do. If they don't, well, tough. As I say, it's your own rules you can make, as long as you do the same for everybody. And these have gone back 40 paces, and the Saxons here pursued them down the hill, so they'll get a plus. But I think we're virtually at the end of the game now. That Viking command over there is gone, the Viking command over here is gone, the central command is gone. Actually, the only unit, oh, not the only unit, because he's shaken, right. Yes, they haven't got an unshaken unit, have they? No, everybody's shaken or en route. So that's the end of the Vikings. Saxons prevail, managed to keep the Vikings from this part of the countryside. Village is safe. The village over there is very safe, didn't get ravaged by Vikings. May have lost a few trees on the way, possibly, I don't know. But, yep. So there we go. The end of a bit of fun. It's my first game. I don't know if it worked. I'll have a look in the edit and see how it worked. It was fun to do. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.